Warning, this podcast contains heavy spoilers for not just one movie, but entire franchises. We highly recommend going and watching these movies before listening to us as a companion piece that stitches all the timelines into one creepy, crime-ridden story. There will be no more spoiler warnings. We do not break character. After this, there is no turning back. You've been warned. Hit the music.
You are talking about the nonsensical ravings of a lunatic mind.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's
alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Hello and welcome to It's Alive podcast. It's a true crime, paranormal, interstellar podcast covering unbelievable stories that sound like they were ripped straight from the pages of a Hollywood script. I'm your host, Outlaw Dr. H.R. Smokenstein, THC, and with me as always, my very own scream queen, the perfect combination of beauty and brains, the brightest smoking, the native horror expert, the guts and gore, the gorgeous and sexy Amy Rose.
Hi.
No.
Yes.
How do we start this?
You can.
So, like, this week we were planning to do Blood Feast, right?
Yes, we were.
But my mind has been busy. And, well, look, we'll start with it. The idea of It's Alive podcast was that people apparently, I don't know who these people are, I never felt guilty about it, but some people feel guilty about reading or using true crime as a source of entertainment.
But it's
Other
not
people's
actually
misery.
the true crime that we're using when you look at it like
No,
that.
I've always said that. I've always said it's more the mind of the killer that interests me and what they do and what leads to this as opposed to the actual
Absolutely.
grisly, gory details of what they've done. But our goal then outside of that was, all right, so we need to take out the real horror out of this, out of these true crime stories, and give people who like true crime this alternative while giving people who love horror more horror. So we said we'd kind of do, I don't know, is it a satirical view or a mockumentary? I don't know what you'd call it.
I wouldn't say satirical.
Spoof, fucking parody. Parody would probably be the best. A parody of a true crime documentary using horror movies as the inspiration, right? Basically to avoid all that. But that, so every week we got to sit down, we got to go through the story, try and find relatable true crime stories that fit in with this, and then we discuss it like it's a real thing. You know, we've done Mike Myers, we've done Chucky, we've done, you know, everything in and about. We'll cover paranormal, aliens, everything. But I'll be honest, you might notice that we kind of do like we might get. We're supposed to be weekly every Wednesday, but more and more often you're getting a case of where you get 3 or 4 weeks where we're talking, kind of discussing a subject, and then we go missing for a week or two. And then we come back and it's like a new story. Like there was Chucky for 4 weeks where we went on a great run. And then we had to stop. And then it was Irish stuff. And then it stopped. And then it's religious stuff. The reason for the stops more often than not is because I get some form of writer's block. Something distracts me. More often than not, it's what's going on around us. Because I've always been like, up until the last few years, I've always been one of these people who are like, I just don't follow politics. I'm not following that shit. It's too much. I don't want to know about it. It's just going to piss me off. But now we're in a position in the world where you can't avoid it. It's there everywhere, all the time. And everything feels like it's only getting worse. And for the last 2 weeks, especially, where I was trying to focus on getting the Blood Feast stuff ready, we had all this stuff going on. All this Palestine stuff revving up and heating up. And to the point where I suppose it's because I've been looking into it more and more. It's constantly in my algorithm now. So it's all I see all day, every day. And then on top of that, so you're seeing all that go on, which is fucking mind-boggling. Because to me, this is the same as Germany, the Nazis, and the Jews, right? The only difference is back then, you know, like in Band of Brothers. When they stumble across, they get so far in that in the war, they get so much of the land that they finally come across the concentration camps. And they're all shocked to see what's going on in the concentration camps. Well, they had an excuse. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have this shit being thrown at them all day, every day. So they were shocked and they helped the people that were there and got them out and whatever. we don't have the same excuse because we're watching it in real time every fucking week. You know, every day it's there, it's coming at us. And I feel bad bringing it onto this show because our job here on this show is we're supposed to entertain people. We're supposed to take their minds off of what's happening in reality and to be able to take an hour or an hour and a half or whatever it is to just zone out and think about what's being said to you here on the show. But that, I felt for a while that was a good thing that we should be doing. It's something to take people's minds off it. But now I'm looking, I was like, should we be taking people's minds off it? Should anybody be taking their fucking mind off it? You know?
Yeah.
Because it just seems horrific. So it's been virtually impossible for me to keep my mind on the task at hand for the last couple of weeks. Because I'm constantly looking at that. Then you're over and you're looking at all the stuff that's happening in America. And
Up
they're
the north at the moment.
and they're completely culpable as well for what's going on in Israel.
Absolutely.
So you know they're involved with that, but then they have their own shit going on over there and you're thinking, this is fucking bonkers. Why would they leave this man do all the stuff he's fucking doing? Do you know? And why is he getting away with it? And the simple answer to all of this, real simple answer to all of this, is the government, all governments, take their sweet ass times getting anything fucking done. Everything it'll be sent to a committee to be discussed. Then it'll be forwarded on to another committee to discuss it. And then we'll think about it. It's like by the time you're done going through all the fucking red tape, Palestine's going to be gone. Do you know? By the time you're done going through all your red tape, America will be in a civil war. Because it's looking that way already, isn't it? It's starting to edge towards that way. And that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing people have stopped waiting for their governments and have started doing stuff for them fucking self. And that's where, because I thought about this today. I was like, if we want things to get better, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Because there has to be some sort of shift. We have to change everything. Do you know?
Yeah.
The politicians who generally just work for the people of higher levels of, you know, fucking rich people, billionaires, all this kind of shit. And, you know, it's like that thing of shit rolls downhill. We get the fucking scraps of what fucking comes down. And they don't realize that we put them there. Well, we didn't. Realistically, it's the big power people with all the money that's financing them and donating them to them, and they're giving them, and they're promising them these rich people the world to get into office, and then they're getting into fucking office, and we're being fucking forgotten about. And there's no quick action to anything because they will drag their feet and take their time on everything. The only time they're going to move is when we're doing what we're doing now. And that's being loud and going out there and screaming and fucking shouting. And I'm getting pissed off because a lot of the time I'm sitting here and I'm feeling frustrated because I'm seeing all this happen and I don't know what I can do to help. According to all the websites I've done, we're doing what we can do to help. You know, we're constantly sharing stuff on social media. We're screaming it out here. We are clearly showing our support everywhere we can. We got flags everywhere. We're fucking doing what we can. But it still doesn't feel like enough. Like, I would love, if I had the money to, I would be with those 10,000 people walking Palestine.
Did you see the convoy vehicles today? Was it
They're
huge?
up to about 10,000 plus. It started with 1,000, I think, wasn't it?
It did start with 1,000.
And as they travel along, they're picking up more and more and more and more people. And it's just, I don't know. I really don't fucking know at this point. But it is getting harder to do what I have to do here and focus on all that stuff at the same fucking time. But I can't ignore that stuff. And I gotta try and work this out because, to be honest with you, I also know that we're still in a very building fucking stage of our podcast. So I have to keep stuff coming and coming and coming. So I'll try and work on that a little bit. But it's been fucking difficult to concentrate on entertainment and fiction when you know what's going on. Even looking at my Instagram is hard now because there's so much of the Palestine stuff and so much of the USA stuff, and I'm going through it. And then in between, I see actors and celebrities and musicians and influencers and people selling their clothes and showing off their new fancy clothes or showing off their new fancy shit or talking about the places they've been and the things they're doing. It's like, fuck, how can you be doing this stuff and all this? Do you not see what's happening over here, no? And you're not paying attention. We can't be fucking bouncing around the place showing all the cool shit we got and how great our life is when this is going on. You should be over here doing so, especially if you're a higher up celebrity. You should be using your platform to fucking scream this to the
and not
up.
shying away from it because you don't want to be too controversial. I think that is a huge problem.
And we made that mistake at the start when
At
we
the
didn't fully understand what was going on.
But that's because we didn't know enough about it. Like, do you know, it's
fuck
not
me,
fair.
have I got an educated sense?
Yeah.
So I don't know. All I can say to people is just do what we're doing. Fucking share stuff. get the word out there as much as you can. Go to the protests.
Because we want all eyes on Palestine right now. Basically.
Stop buying Israeli stuff.
Which was shot down here by our government, wasn't it?
That's the Israeli war bonds.
The war bonds, but it still should have been shot down, or shouldn't have been shot down by the government.
But it might take you a little extra time to do your shopping, but start looking at those labels. See where they're fucking supplied from. I know Pseudo Cream was bought out by an Israeli company.
Mind blowing, because it's another Irish company after being sold.
Hewlett Packard, I believe, are Israeli owned. Yeah. What was the other thing I said we used that we have to stop using? There was one other thing that I was like, oh, we can't use that shit anymore.
What do we call them? Products?
Yeah. There was one other thing, and I was like, it's not a big deal. We don't get it that often, but it's there. It was some phone company, I think. I can't remember.
New potatoes. Carrots are also exported from Israel.
The fucked up thing about it though is, how do you pick with the fruit and veg? A lot of that shit's just loose in fucking...
If you buy it in bags, or if you look at the label, it will always say, not on the label, on the
box?
No, well, number one on the box, but it'll always say as well, on the barcode label, it'll say the country of origin.
70 something you're supposed to be looking out for. I can't remember now. Yes, well, the point is, do what you can fucking do, I suppose, for now. I mean, I really do think things are going to get a lot worse before they get a lot better. I do think you are looking at a monumental shift with how the world works in the next decade. Because people are getting sick of being pushed down. People are sick of having nothing. I mean, even if you look at the lower scale of things and look at our country as an example, no time in our lifetime has, outside of the Celtic Tiger, no time in our adult life has our country been financially stable, or our generation been financially stable.
That is because the people that did get the money during the Celtic Tiger fucked it up for the rest of the country and for the generation to come after.
Guess what? They're still in power.
Yep.
So this is what I'm saying. It's frustrating. It is. And then I can only imagine, then I feel guilty because I get frustrated and I realize what they're going through in Palestine, what foreign people in America are going through. Mm-hmm. And then all you got to do is look up north.
Oh, and my God.
But it's not, I'm not going to say this is a northern problem. This happens in Dublin. This happens in Tralee, it happens in Kerry. There are people who, to be honest, to the most part, are just scumbags looking for an excuse to cause trouble.
Exactly.
Racists, assholes, pricks. I mean, there was there's the side that are like, it's not the fucking immigrants' fault, and there's the side that say, oh, keep Ireland Irish, and they're walking around, and just for the sake of doing it, I have seen 3 videos this week of Irish people in these groups doing Nazi salutes. I have seen 2 examples of Israeli flags being waved at people on the other fucking side.
That's fine, but I mean, like...
In the north at the moment, what happened was there was 2 Romanian boys, two Romanian teenagers, who were brought up in court on charges of sexual assault against a girl. The scumbags around that area decided the best way to deal with that was to go hunting for foreign nationals, for foreigners. Mm-hmm. And that they were going to kick the shit out of any foreigner that they fucking saw, to the point where people had to start putting flags and pictures on their door to show what nationality they were, so they wouldn't get fucking targeted. No, if that's your fucking logic, then what we're going to do is, next time, I don't know, someone in one estate kicks up, we're going to go in and burn down the whole fucking estate. That's how they're making sense, right? That makes sense. They're from that estate. Sense. Or will we just go after that one particular family and kill everyone in that family for the one person that one person did? Yeah. Because that's the sense they're making, right?
But they're not making any sense. I mean, like, even if it's the Irish person that can go away and do a DNA test and come back to me and say, I have 100% Irish blood, so keep the Irish for the Irish. Yeah, I'll shake your fucking hand. You don't have 100% Irish.
It's Scottish and it's all Celtic.
You have Scandinavian.
Where?
You do have Scandinavian, I thought, when we did. Oh, by the way, My Heritage is another place that we can't
I know.
use now.
You fucking bastards have my DNA.
Headquarters in Israel. But
don't you fucking clone me, Israel.
I mean, I'm Irish. I am an Irish person, but when I did my DNA, I came back 50% UK like. That's why I own this house. But I mean, do you know, unless you're Conan fucking O'Brien, the likelihood is you're not fully fucking Irish either. None of us are.
How the fuck did Conan get it?
No idea. Is he a relative?
Fuck if I know. Oh yeah, I'm O'Brien. Sullivan O'Brien. Yeah, I'll look into it.
You'll have to.
Can't check my heritage now, though, can I?
The lads still think they're related to Dusty Springfield.
Oh man, I am sweating here. Holy shit.
Motorola.
That was the company. Yeah.
Siemens. Black & Decker.
Anyway.
Loads of them.
Check on what's that website?
Boycott Israel. It's on the Ireland Palestine Solidarity Campaign page. That's ipsc.ie, and it'll give you the list of consumer products that you need to stay away from.
They'll also give you a list of where all the
marches and
protests are happening. So they'll give you literally the days and times. We've got to check it up for our location.
You might put that into the bio of this episode. Isn't a bad idea?
Yeah. Good idea. So for this episode, we are doing something a little bit different.
We are.
Because, like I said, I couldn't do Imagination Land this week. Do you know how bad it's gotten in this world? People are going to start coming to us looking for fucking places to live in the Horrorverse just to get away from all the shit that's going on here.
Come on in.
We got scarier people in real life than what we joke about in this show.
Yep.
So what I thought we would do this week, just as a kind of chill out episode, a kind of breather before we get back into Blood Feast. Because I have the first part of Blood Feast ready to go. That'll be up on Wednesday, I promise, next Wednesday.
I have complete faith in you.
It's written. We just have to record the
I didn't know. I've seen that.
So we are completely out of the Horrorverse this week. We're in reality, and that's what I wanted to do, because we swore when we started this that we would stick to solely fictional stuff. We'd try our best, at least, to stay away from stuff that are based on a true story. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't count stuff like Silence of the Lambs or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because they are so loosely based on Ed Gein that it's fucking far. And same with Psycho. They're not the same story. I mean, like bios, true crime bios, fucking movies. Like the first one we're going to talk about here is Zodiac, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have a look at some movies and what happened in real life, and just have a look at them, stuff that we can't usually touch on the show because they're real and we can't basically go crazy. It's basically delving into true crime area once you get there. And if you want true crime, we do a little bit of true crime from time to time on It's a Live Action, which reminds me, because Blood Feast has been pushed on, we got to push on the Blood Feast.
A live action.
So I'm thinking a true crime episode this week.
I am more than happy to do true crime.
Today.
Perfect.
We won't say it just in case we don't do
that.
it. We did a small sliver of it on the Horrorverse headlines.
Is that all?
We just discussed the documents they found on his thing.
Okay, well, we'll do that.
I want to talk about the new documentary more than anything.
Perfect.
Which is a little easier to do.
Yeah.
So let's kick off with this. I'll be honest, you're right. We have 5 movies here to talk about. And I knew about 3 of them, and 2 of them caught me completely off guard.
How do you mean?
Well, there's just 2 movies. I just did not think there was any possibility that there was a real story based behind it. Do you know?
Which, with the first one?
No. So first we're going to look at the Zodiac. Zodiac is a 2007 American mystery thriller film directed by David Fincher and written by James Vanderbilt.
No, it's not Vanderbilt. It's that's Dawson. Are you going to say Dawson's Creek?
No.
I always get...
Do you know who made Dawson's Creek? Do you know who the creator of Dawson's Creek is?
Scream guy.
Yeah, Kevin Williamson.
Yeah, couldn't think of his name.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, mad.
But that's why it's on the TV in Scream 3 as well.
Oh, yeah. But it's also probably why the relationships in the movie work, because, he kind of knew how to write that kind of experience.
I never watched Dawson's Creek, so I couldn't fucking tell you. I was too young.
I never liked Dawson's Creek, even when I was old enough to watch the real ones.
Was that really the music for the entrance?
I don't want to run away.
Anyway, what I was actually going to say is James Vanderbilt. I thought I knew something else he made. Hang on 2 seconds and I will have a quick look here. I'm pretty sure he does a few horrors.
Yes, right? He did. Oh no, I thought he did The Amazing Spider-Man. Maybe he didn't.
He is.
Scream. Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Scream.
That's what I thought.
Scream.
Yeah.
Independence Day. A Resurgence. 2016. Sorry.
Not the good Independence Day, so.
Not the good Independence Day.
Abigail, he was a producer for producer. Yeah. He's
there's a lot there.
Ready or Not.
Mm-hmm. Ready or Not.
Yeah. So he partners with the other guy.
Yeah.
Is he so he's a part of this Radio Silence group, yeah?
That's what I'm thinking.
That's why I thought I knew the name. I just didn't know he'd been around that long. It's Zodiac. It is from 2007. It feels like it's an older movie, doesn't it?
There's a few Zodiacs, though. There are a few Zodiac movies. There's one with your man from, Dr. One, Grey's Anatomy. I would have watched that as well.
I've only ever seen this one.
This is hardly the same.
Anyway, based on the non-fiction books by Robert Graysmith, Zodiac 1986 and Zodiac en Masse 2002, which, I mean, couldn't have been very good because no one's unmasked them yet. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, and Robert Downey Jr. with Anthony Edwards, Brian Cox, Elias Cortez, Donald Logue. I don't remember Donald Logue in that movie.
I don't remember.
John Carroll Lynch, Chloe Savini. And that's not how you spell Savini. And Philip Baker Hall and Dermot Mulroney. I don't remember Dermot Mulroney in that
what
either.
What the fuck was Chloe in lately? Because I remember thinking that was Chloe Savini.
No idea. So the film tells the story of the manhunt for the Zodiac Killer, a serial killer who terrorized the San Francisco Bay Area during the late 1960s. I feel like I'm about to stumble all over my words. I feel like I'm already stumbling all over my words. I need to do stretches. So in the late 1960s and early 1970s, taunting police with letters, blood-stained clothing, and ciphers mailed to the newspaper. The case remains one of the United States' most infamous unsolved crimes. Fincher Vanderbilt and producer Bradley J. Fisher spent 18 months conducting their own investigation and researching the Zodiac murders. Zodiac was released by Paramount Pictures in the United States, Canada, and by Warner Brothers Pictures in international markets on March 2nd, 2007. I didn't know they did that. I didn't know big companies did that.
How do you mean release?
Distribute them differently. Like,
yeah.
Paramount would have just done everywhere, you know? It received largely positive reviews with praise for its writing, directing, acting, and historical accuracy. The film was nominated for several awards, including the Saturn Award for Best Action, Adventure, or Thriller Film. It grossed over 4.7 million worldwide on a production budget of 65 million. That doesn't seem like a lot.
Doesn't seem a lot, but I suppose once you add, as in like if you just look at the net, it doesn't look like a lot.
Clear profit. Yeah. It's nearly 20 fucking grand or 20 million clear profit. There, so yeah.
Exactly.
In a 2016 critics poll conducted by the BBC, Zodiac was voted the 12th greatest film of the 21st century.
So far.
Said
so far. It's like 10 years ago.
Yeah, so of the last decade or quarter of it, I don't know. Is it still one of the best? It is. It scares me, to be honest. It scares me.
Oh, well, it's a scary story.
We'll get to that in a minute. In the years since its release, the film has garnered a large cult following, with many claiming it to be David Fincher's best work. Most of the film's followers praise its direction, acting, writing, cinematography, production design, soundtrack, attention to detail, and accuracy to both the real-life investigation and obsession that gripped some of those who were either directly involved or close to the investigation itself. Anyone with a passing interest in true crime is familiar with the Zodiac Killer, who terrorized San Francisco with a string of still unsolved murders in the 1960s. But David Fincher's chilling masterpiece is less about the slayings, though the reenactments, several of them are unnerving, you know, with the details and all that. It also sends you down a rabbit hole. The killer opened. I'm stumbling here, but I don't know why I'm stumbling today. My mind is all over the place.
You're going really fast.
Breather. I need nice calm. So what we need is some of that
THC.
That would help. I was going to say some of that mood setting music, you know, waves.
Oh, we could do that too if you like.
No, I got the original idea. That's a better idea. All right. Basically, it's a movie about the Zodiac Killer. So let's talk about the Zodiac Killer a little bit. We've talked about this time and time again, I'm pretty sure.
We have
done the Zodiac Killer a fair bit. Where is my Zodiac Killer page? I had one up here a minute ago.
I have it there.
Why isn't mine up? It's the same fucking link as yours. See, things are going all over the place. I found it. It's fine.
No, just about to send it to you.
Not that I need it or anything. I mean, fucking hell. The movie, to me, is probably the closest thing to what I believe actually happened. I do believe Arthur Lee Allen. Is it Arthur Allen Lee or Arthur Lee Allen, isn't it? I always mix those two up.
Arthur Lee Allen, as far as I know.
I always fuck up those two fucking... Like, there's a shitload of suspects here if you go through this page.
There is a lot.
Jesus Christ, there's a few girls here as well. I didn't see that coming. Where
is
he?
Would we go with girls? Because nothing fits.
Oh, sorry, that's victims. Sorry, my bad.
Okay, I was thinking, nothing about this fits a girl.
No, that's what I was thinking.
Good God.
Arthur Lee Allen.
Yeah.
who is the only one pictured in this suspects area right now. Other suspects widely seen as viable by professional and amateur investigations are Earl Van Best Jr., Gary Francis Poste, Giuseppe Bavalacqua, Lawrence Kane, Paul Dorr, Richard Gaikowski, and Richard Marshall. So 2 Richards, 2 dicks. But yeah, Arthur Lee Allen is the one they suspect.
The main guy.
And to be honest, I know, like, it's really, really hard in today's day and age to know for sure what you're getting is right. You know, like people say like, oh, well, I read it from this source, I read it from that source, I read it from that source. The problem with the internet is once you show an interest in something,
you're inundated.
Your algorithm will just send nothing but that your way.
Yeah.
So you're always getting one side of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it difficult to really kind of work out what went on. Because I mean, like, I watched that documentary not too long ago. What was the name of that documentary? It was the one about Arthur Lee Allen and the kind of side family he had.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Not the side family. He was friends with this family. But there was a whole documentary about it. Remember I watched it where the girl was going on about going to the beach where he committed some of the crimes and stuff like that. Oh,
this is the Zodiac speaking, no?
That could be it.
Yeah. And there's also, his name was Arthur Lee Allen.
I don't know.
It's one of them.
Either way, it always seemed too suspect to me that once they were watching him, it all kind of stopped. And then as he got older, it stopped. The typewriter thing where he had the same type of typewriter as the Zodiac watch that he wore, the way he talked about fucking the Zodiac, it all seems too much for me to be not him when they had no other real close suspect, you know?
Have they done DNA?
That's the thing, right? They did DNA on stamps and stuff that they found. And it didn't match his DNA. But then it was pointed out, I was like, well, who fucking says he licked the stamp? Do you know? That could have been put on in the post office. That could have been put on by somebody else that he got to send the letter. There's so many different kind of variables to it.
But then again, as in, I know that it could have just have been put on by somebody, you know, that was sending the letter, but like he wouldn't have had the foresight to go, oh, you better lick this for me. Like, you know, I'm not saying it was on purpose.
Or he could hand and go, I've done it before where you go to a post office and you don't have a stamp. It's like, I don't have a stamp for that. Will you throw a stamp on that? So I'll post it and then you just pay them. No, most often they'd have that sponge in front of them that they just stick the stamp in and fucking stick it on.
Oh, I thought that was for putting their thumb into when they were counting money.
They have that too. That's another one, yeah. But I know that you can get certain
sponges, wet sponges.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't really know. Like, to be honest, I just think this is one of those ones we're probably never going to fucking know. But then, like, it's hard to say because we just watched that documentary about Rex Huberman.
Yeah.
And they couldn't pick up on him for a long time because the technology they had testing the hair fibers they found on the scenes or on the bodies was too degraded at the time they were found to be able to link them directly to his family, but because they kept them and had the ability to do it now, they were able to link it down closer to him.
Yeah.
And same with, you know, the likes of BTK, who, well, fair enough, they caught him through electronical forensics, but they had the DNA on fucking on stuff, something that he wouldn't have thought about worrying about at his crimes, leaving his DNA behind in the 70s. Was still there to haunt him in 2004. Yeah. You know, Joseph D'Angelo.
Yes, yeah.
Another guy who was caught by his DNA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that comes up over time. So I don't know. A lot of what I've heard, though, about the Zodiac case is the DNA that they have has been used so many times and is degraded. And I think they might have said in 1 or 2 cases it wasn't stored properly or stuff like that. So they don't actually have a whole pile left to be tested.
Okay, yeah.
Which makes it more difficult to either way, I'm pretty sure the Zodiac is dead at this point.
Oh, well, yeah. And eventually if you keep testing in DNA, it's a destructive process. So you're going to be left with.
So I don't know if we're ever going to find that one or if we're ever going to solve that one unless, I don't know. You see, I always feel, no, it's just me. But I always feel like if I was one of these people who did one of those things and I wanted to get away with it, I'd want to get away with it in the style of Jimmy Savile, where I'd live till the day I died, and then everyone would find out after I died, and they'd be like, tricked you the whole time. If I was BTK, I would have wanted them to find out in my deathbed. I would have been like, okay, I'm about to die.
No, BTK
I'm
wanted
the
fame.
BTK killer. Boom.
What were your last words?
Get that lad. But that's it, to get that lad, because you have to think they get, especially the Zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
He was sending them stuff. He liked the attention. He liked being in the news,
Maybe it stopped because he was killed.
Well, that's a lot of the time. That's what they say. Like when they don't catch these serial killers, a lot of the time they talk about how they've rather moved, meaning they have to go look for it. Especially back in the 70s, if they moved, you're not going to know about it for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like again, like this Rex Hurman thing, they're looking now all over the fucking country for stuff that he might have done here, there, and everywhere else. This guy is from New York. They're looking in Las Vegas, which is the opposite side of their country. They rather move, die, or get locked up for another crime. Now, if you got locked up for another crime, modern day, that's how you'd nail it.
Well, you'd be caught. Yeah.
Because that's, again, Rex Hurman. That's why they didn't catch him straight away. It was because even when they did have his DNA, dude wasn't in the fucking system.
Yes. Yeah.
This movie sticks with me mainly because of the lake scene. I hate that lake. Not hate it. It's one of the best. It scares me more than anything else in film.
Is that when they were sitting beside the lake?
Yeah. And he comes up and he's dressed in the whole get up, the Zodiac gear and all that stuff, like something out of a fucking slasher movie.
Like,
and then he ties him up, and one has to watch the other one being stabbed, and then he just turns. And it just, every time I watch it, because every time I think about it, I get a shiver down my spine. Again, it's because I suppose with horror movies, usually you can disassociate completely that this is fake, and those people are going to get up and laugh it off in a few minutes.
But it's too real. It's too
when
likely.
You know what happened.
Yeah.
For real, it is terrifying. And that was the only one he stabbed as well, isn't it?
The rest were shot. Yeah.
There was David Arthur Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, who were shot and killed on Lake Herman Road. There was Michael Magoo and Darlene Elizabeth Ferrin. They were shot around midnight between July 4th and 5th. They were also parked up, kissing and hugging. One of them survived. Michael survived.
Farron was dead though,
Paulie Stein was shot after Joe. He was the cabbie, the taxi driver that was killed.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing as well then. It's harder as well then to narrow down who you're looking for when they keep changing what they're doing. So like the first two are couples shot on, these fucking kissing lanes, these fucking, what do they call them again?
Lovers lanes.
Lover lanes, that's it. The teens go kissing and other stuff at. Then you have these two who are by the lake, which you could kind of link up because again, it's a couple, but he stabs these two. And then there's just this cabbie that he shoots, which is completely out of the fucking...
Do you think he had maybe kind of a, I know who you are kind of shit?
Huh?
The cabbie. Is that why the cabbie was shot maybe?
But nobody knew who he was. How would he know?
Was there anything released in the newspaper about him? Did he see anything that he would have carried with him or something like that? Would he have been able to a throwaway comment
See, this is where all the conspiracy theories come into it with the Zodiac, is that a lot of the sketches and descriptions and stuff like that are really, really different from one another.
Okay.
That's why Arthur Lee Allen got off for so long, because he didn't match the description of the white guy that cops saw walking away from the Paul Stein shooting. They originally missed him because they were told it was a black man that committed the crime. So they were looking for a black man. So when he passed them, they paid no attention. But when they were asked then, is this the guy you saw passing you? They said no. So it could have been another different white guy.
Yeah.
So that's what fucked it all up. And so I don't know.
And they're all attributed to him because he sent letters about all of them, was it?
Not just letters. And the Paulie Stein's party sent them a bit of his shirt with bloodstains on it.
Oh, yeah.
The cabbie shirt, he ripped it off him. So they knew he did that one. He always had details about the crimes that hadn't been released to the public.
Okay.
So that's how they usually know who the fakers are and who the real people are.
Okay.
Because you're if you have that information, you couldn't have had that information
unless you were the killer.
So you were rather the killer or you know the killer. So we are going to bring you in and talk to you. you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the movie we watched the last day when we were watching Black Phone. When the little girl says she knows all this stuff that's happening, the cops pull her right in
and
and
they're
it's
like, you didn't dream it.
Who the fuck told you that?
Yeah.
Who told you that? Who told you that? Because, you know, it's like, well, you know, we know you know something about it. You obviously heard it from someone. So whoever you heard it from,
you need to tell us.
That's the killer. You know, that's the problem. That's the grabber, you know, in that situation. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think in terms of true crime movies, Zodiac is probably my favorite.
I don't know. I don't know what my favorite true crime is.
It's the one that sticks with me the most.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can't sit here and tell me any of you've seen that you can remember probably sticks with you the most.
No, I'm saying I don't know which one is my favorite. I'm saying like I didn't like Ted Bundy. I didn't like
the low budget Bundy one.
Yeah,
not the Zac Efron one.
No, not the Zac Efron one. When I say I didn't like it, Ted Bundy and it freaked me the fuck out. Yeah. That whole thing of him in the back of the bus when they're kind of showing like the montage of all the killings that he's doing and like he's like
the worst scene in that film.
When he's shagging the dead body and he's like, fuck you. Oh, it's awful.
No,
awful.
When he's got the two girls. Remember, he's making one up with the makeup, but he's got the other girl there. And he's like telling her, I'm your judge, jury, and executioner, all this kind of shit. Terrifying. Fucking terrifying. That's, again, to me, is very similar to that Zodiac scene. It's too real for me, and knowing that it happened scares the living shit out of me.
The Green River Killer movie as well with the girl from 8 Simple Rules. I found it hard to watch because she's the girl that's killed kind of towards the start, and she's
Kaylee Coco.
The other one, and she's kind of telling the story, telling every kind of nearly a narration through her eyes, and it's quite sad. Like, you know, that one kind of upset me, whereas Ted Bundy just made my fucking skin crawl.
But see, this is But this is kind of why, as well, for a long time, you would have noticed I had like a massive aversion to movies that were just about serial killers.
Yeah, you still won't watch Funny Games.
It's amazing. I will now because I've watched so many of it now, and I kind of realize, it's just the true crime stuff that really fucking freaks me.
Yeah.
And it depends on how it's shot too, because obviously the Zac Efron Bundy movie didn't affect me in any way, shape, or form.
And some movies are just
the one with Tim Roth. The Remington Place one.
Remington Place. That's
one
a good one.
Yeah, that didn't freak me out in any way, shape, or form. You know,
John Christie.
Even though I know that story is fucking horrific.
It is horrific. Was it John Christie? Christie was definitely a second name.
Do you know that Attenborough played him first?
Yep. I've seen that one as well.
I haven't seen that one. That was on this list I got all these from. It was a list of 15. I picked 5. All right, we'll move on to the next one. But that is, I love that movie. We move on to the next one, and that is one also we've talked a whole lot about, and that is the Amityville Horror. Do you want to take this one?
I haven't seen this version of it. But
I have never seen this version either. The only one I've seen I have seen 2 Amityville movies.
The Ryan Reynolds one.
Yep. And the Amityville Vibrator.
Oh, remember? I see. No, was it the Amityville Vibrator? Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that one
with
as well.
The evil vibrator that was going around attacking people in the house.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the one that we saw out in the kitchen. That was definitely a horror movie, but like she was sitting there and she had like a mask on her head. Do you remember that? And she was on her bed, and it was like a really low budget kind of done as a project kind of horror movie, and she has a vibrator as well.
No, do you remember the one where the vibrator was doing the killing?
Oh, and the vibrator was kind of moving along.
It was essentially
I think I remember
a very
that.
bad porno movie with a story in it.
Okay, I think we are definitely. Maybe we are talking about the same movie.
Wasn't there a baby and a baby doll at one point, and they were doing some fucking? I can barely remember this.
I remember it. I do remember
the
two
really
separate.
The bad guy at the end of it, and his head got exploded by the vibrator and stuff like that.
I remember it now.
What a stupid movie.
Yes. Anyway, this one isn't the Amityville Vibrator. This is the Amityville Horror, and it was a 1979 American supernatural horror film directed by Stuart Rosenberg and starring James Brolin, Margot Kidder, and Rod Steiger. The film follows a couple who purchase a home haunted by combative supernatural forces. And it's based on Jay Anson's 1977 book of the same name, which documented the alleged paranormal experiences of the Lutz family, who were briefly residing in the Amityville, New York home, where Ronald DeFeo Jr. committed the mass murder of his family in 1974. It's the first entry in the long-running Amityville horror film series and was remade in 2005. Executive producer Samuel Z. Arkoff originated the project after purchasing the rights to Anson's book, and it was initially conceived as a television film, which Anson adapted himself. When Arkoff rejected the teleplay, it was reworked by screenwriter Sander Stern as a feature film. The producers intended to shoot the film in the actual DeFeo residence, but its owners denied them permission.
What a shitty thing. I mean, if that happened in our house and they wanted to make a film in our house, like, yes, go for it. That's awesome. But people with the Amityville house have been like really fucking trying hard to change the image of it. They've even gotten rid of this scary face on the side.
Live. Filming instead began on location in Toms River, New Jersey in October 1978, followed by interior shoots occurring at the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer sound stages in Los Angeles, which were completed just before the Christmas holiday.
I'd have to make it like a fucking bed and breakfast or something, or an Airbnb. I'd make it some sort of a tourist fucking thing.
Oh, you'd make it killing over there. You'd make it killing. Yeah.
Just have like a pig's head that drops down in front of one of the windows at some point, and then stuff like that. A proper haunted house.
Oh yeah, creepy. I don't like pig heads.
The chalk outlines of where the DeFeo family were in the house.
The Amityville Horror had its world premiere at the Museum of Modern Art on July 24th, 1979, before receiving a wide theatrical release 3 days later. The film was a major commercial success and one of the most profitable films released by its distributor, American International Pictures. It went on to gross over $80 million in North America, becoming one of the highest grossing independent films of all time, as well as one of the highest grossing horror films in cinema history. Though met largely with unfavorable critical reviews at the time of its release, composer Lalo Schifrin's musical score earned the film Golden Globe and Academy Award nominations, while Kidder received a Saturn Award for nomination for Best Actress. That's Kidder as in Lois Lane, is it?
Yes.
Okay. One of the first horror movies to go hard promoting itself as a true story, Stuart Rosenberg's tale of supernatural harassment is a sufficiently scary haunted house flick, but its legacy is tied to its legend. According to the book it's based on, in 1975, a family moved into a house in Long Island that had previously been the site of a grisly mass murder and were subsequently driven out by the malevolent spirits. Skeptics have long since discredited everything but the murder part. But the movie was a huge surprise hit, effectively remaking the concept of possessed real estate for the American middle class and influencing everything from Poltergeist to Paranormal Activity, plus several dodgy sequels. Some contemporary film scholars have considered the film a classic of the horror genre, and it's widely regarded as a seminal entry in the subgenre of the contemporary haunted house film. In his 1981 non-fiction book, Danse Macabre, horror author Stephen King interprets the film as a parable on the anxieties of home ownership and financial ruin, citing the economic crisis of the 1970s and the film's frequent references to financial matters, a reading which has been similarly assessed by other film scholars.
But would that not be an unintentional kind of parable on the anxieties of home ownership and stuff like that? Because it's based on a story the Lutzes came up with. Like, I do, truly. You know me, I'm all for, like, fucking Enfield haunting, I believe happened. There's a lot of them I believe happened. I know from studying enough about the Amityville horror that this is a load of shit. None of it actually happened.
And it was just fabricated by the Lutzes.
To make money.
It was definitely to make money. It wasn't like a thing of they were so stressed and anxiety ridden that they...
I think that they no. From what I have heard, and what the guy, the lawyer they were working with at the time has admitted since, they were having a few drinks and came up with the idea.
Sounds like something we talk about, like you just throw it around in the kitchen and then it's forgotten about the next morning.
Yeah, well, they went through with it. I mean, like, I suppose, like, when you know you're moving into a house, they got the house cheap, obviously. But you know you're moving into a house that has that energy in it, right? Mm-hmm. So there is a potential for a haunting there. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, nobody that's lived there since has had a problem. Nobody before him, well, there was no one before him. They did have a major fucking problem.
Huge problem.
But that was because their son was a fucking druggie and a fucking bum that didn't want to do anything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't buy anything to do with this. All it's done is really made a cool fucking movie. That's it.
Yeah,
and to be
it was
honest,
an alright movie.
I've only ever seen the Amityville Horror once, and that was the Ryan Reynolds one in 2005 in the cinema. I haven't seen it since.
I always thought Haunting in Connecticut was based on it as well, because it's quite a
That's what I
similar
think.
kind of.
I think that's actually based on a different.
Oh, really?
different,
Because that
haunting.
creeped me out too.
And that's another legitimate one.
Is that actually legitimate? Do you believe that one?
I've never looked into it enough to know, to be honest with you.
I think it might have strayed away because I don't believe that somebody found a room behind their bedroom that was full of eyelids. And you know, there's just certain things that
that's true. I mean, look, it doesn't. The fucked up thing is, right? You could probably get a cool true crime movie out of the DeFeo story, but nobody uses it because the Amityville story is too intriguing, I suppose, too easy to make. You know, as opposed to what the DeFeo story would actually be. Because the DeFeos were supposed to be mixed up with the mob and everything. The father, definitely their uncle, the father's brother or something like that, was in the mob. 100% a gangster.
Okay.
And Ronnie DeFeo tried to use that as an excuse after it happened. He claimed that it was the mafia that came in and killed the family.
Okay.
That he had nothing to do with it originally. Now his story would constantly change because then it was him and his sister that did it. Or then it was his sister that did it and he shot her in self-defense. Then he finally started to say that stuff for telling him to do it. You know, the tricks of his mind and all this kind of stuff. Truth is, the guy used to take a lot of LSD and his dad was giving him a hard time because he was in his 20s living in the basement with no fucking job.
Okay.
So eventually he just snapped and went around and killed the whole fucking family. I don't know, maybe thinking he'd inherit the house and move on.
What the fuck do you think is going to happen when you're the only one fucking living?
Family, I can blame the mob, you know?
I always thought the DeFeo story was what Capote wrote about. Do you know his one in Cold Blood? And it's actually about the killings of the families. Do you know, it was two guys going around slaughtering the families. But when I was younger, it must have been an overlap in my brain. And I always thought Amityville Horror was like linked with Capote.
I do wonder, is the Sopranos family name based on the DeFeos? Because the Sopranos aren't the Soprano family.
No, they're not.
Tony is just the head of the DeMeo family.
DeMeo?
Yeah.
Oh, like DeFeo.
So DeMeo, literally the only difference between DeMeo and DeFeo is the M and the F. It's spelled the exact F-E-O-M-E-O.
So then where's the connection to Multisanti?
What do you mean?
As in, if he's a soprano, he's Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Where's the Multisanti line coming in?
That's a different family. Like when you join the mafia, you don't take
No,
their
I know
name,
that.
like,
I know that. Yeah. I know that they're related. I'm just getting confused here about...
Christopher isn't Tony's direct blood relation.
Oh.
He's related to I believe he's related to Carmela.
Okay, see, that's where I was getting confused because Multisanti, obviously, the play on the
Carmela
Many Saints of Newark is obviously a play on Multisanti. So I thought that maybe he was...
Many Saints is Multisanti.
I thought, that's where I was getting confused.
I think I could be wrong, but I think it's some kind of thing like she is cousins with Christopher.
Okay.
And that's how it works out. And that's how he's in the family. But the Mayo, at the time when the movie started, or when the show started, or when you go back to the Many Saints, the Mayo would have been in charge.
Okay.
And then I think he's in the start, in the pilot, I believe the Mayo is in jail. And that's why his friend that has cancer, it's been a while since I've watched this, he's in charge and he passes it down to Tony. That's all. It's the same way like fucking guys that still be running the fucking Bonanno family or the Genovese family.
Oh yeah, but you have a different name. Yeah.
Even though names have changed over the years.
Do they change them?
Well, one of them was the Luciano family at one point.
That's what?
I believe that might be the Gambinos.
Okay.
Because I think Gambino took over for Lucky. I don't know. It's hard to remember, to be honest. So these guys are switching it. I mean, even at Gigantes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in charge. That's not the Gigante family, like.
But it was Gigante when he was wearing his pajamas and walking around.
Yeah.
He was Gigante.
But the family wouldn't be called the Gigante family. They would have, they was the name of the last boss or the boss before. I know he took it from, who did he take it from? Was it Genovese? They might be the Genovese family. I'm not 100%. Again,
It's very complicated.
It's hard to fucking keep up with all those bastards. But it's not really. I just have to do my study on it again. It's just been a while since I've done it. When you're constantly looking at different forms of criminality, sometimes you start mixing up pieces and forgetting stuff because you're moving from one subject to the next so quickly.
No, I understand.
I loved the Amity. I loved reading about the Amityville horror. It scared me to read the book.
It's entertaining. Yeah, it's entertaining that way. But when you realize that it's not legitimate. And that was the Warrens as well, wasn't it?
Partially. Again, I don't think they had as much involvement in it as they claim to have had in it.
Okay.
And they haven't been able to make it in the Conjuring universe because they had already sold the rights to another company. Was it Warner Brothers that released this?
Warner Brothers, I'm pretty sure.
So I'm pretty sure they still have the rights to the original book.
Well, they recorded the sound at the MGM studios.
Well, then maybe they have the fucking...
They have the rights. Somebody has the rights that's not fucking...
But it's to that particular book, to that particular story. But obviously then Amityville itself is public domain. That's why you have so many stupid fucking movies out there. I mean, hang on 1 second.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I just want to see how many Amityvilles there are, right? We go through some of the...
How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16... 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 films so far. The Amityville Vibrator is not here, so you can make that 26.
So we got Amityville, Amityville 2, The Possession, Amityville 3D. So they followed the normal progression at first. So Amityville 3D, Amityville 4, The Evil Escapes. I'd assume it leaves Amityville at that point. The Amityville Curse, The Amityville It's About Time, Amityville A New Generation, Amityville Dollhouse, Amityville Horror Remake, Amityville Haunting, Amityville Asylum, Amityville Death House, Amityville Final Chapter. But it's never the fucking final chapter, is it? Amityville Playhouse, Amityville Vanishing Point, Amityville Legacy, Amityville Terror, Amityville No Escape, The Unspoken. Ooh, that one.
Where did you find the final chapter? I don't have that on this list. What year
that is 2015. The Amityville, where am I? Exorcism, The Amityville Evil Never Dies, Against the Night, Amityville The Awakening, Amityville Mount Misery Road, Amityville Murders, Amityville Island, Amityville Vibrator.
Oh, it's not on this list.
Witches of Amityville Academy, the Amityville Harvest, and Amityville Poltergeist, the Amityville Moon, the Amityville Cop, the Amityville Cult, the Amityville Vampire, the Amityville Scarecrow, the Amityville Uprising, the Amityville Gas Chamber, Amityville in Space, Amityville... How does Amityville get into space? Amityville in the Hood. Oh my God. Shit. Amityville Karen. I want to watch that one. Amityville Christmas Vacation, Amityville Thanksgiving, Amityville Scarecrow 2, Ghosts of Amityville, Amityville Rideshare, fuck me, Amityville Death Toilet, Amityville Frankenstein, Amityville Job Interview, Amityville Elevator, Amityville Emmanuel, she even got in on it.
Oh my God.
The Amityville Curse, Amityville Shark House, holy shit, Amityville Apocalypse, Amityville Ripper, the Amityville Movie, Amityville Backpack, Amityville Bigfoot, Amityville Webcam, Amityville Turkey Day, Once Upon a Time in Amityville, Amityville Al, Amityville Where the Echo Lives, and Amityville VR.
You forgot one.
Oh, I couldn't have.
Yeah, it's called Amityvillenado.
Amityville what?
Amityvillenado. I don't know what it means. It doesn't have a Wikipedia page yet. It's scheduled for this year, but it's a paranormal entity emerges.
So it's not out yet.
Oh, class! We gotta watch this. A paranormal entity merges with a malevolent tornado, unleashing. Okay, see, when I first read that, I thought I said malevolent tomato.
I'm watching Death Toilet first.
You can take your skibbity fucking shit elsewhere. Thank you very much.
The Death Toilet. Right, enough of Amityville. Right, so this next one, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the one that was the first one to catch me off guard. The next two caught me off guard, right? And that is Poltergeist, 1982. No, yeah, I could, to a degree, I suppose, I could believe that some of this might be, and it is just to a degree. It's only very, very slightly related to a real life situation.
Okay.
But we've been going a long time, so let's not bother. Everyone knows what the Poltergeist is, right? We know who's in it. We know what happens in it. All that job, right? I didn't know that Hooper directed it.
Oh, I always Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I thought it was a Spielberg movie.
What happened was Spielberg watched Texas Chainsaw, and he absolutely, whatever it was about what Hopper done with it. I was only reading about it the other day. He went to Hopper. I can't remember how it was. It's
Hopper.
Hooper. And went to... And he said that they started working together, but it was more of a thing of that Hooper was very passive. So somebody would come, or took a long time to kind of make his mind up. So people will come to Spielberg and Hooper and they'd be like, right, what do you think we should do it like this? And Hooper like, and Spielberg would be like, yeah, we're doing it like that. Or no, we're not doing it.
Well,
and that's kind of the relationship that they had, but it worked because of two different personalities.
Originally, Spielberg wanted Hooper to make he called it kind of like a sequel to Close Encounter.
Yeah,
Third,
it
was going to be a horror sci-fi. Oh. And Hooper didn't want to make it. He wanted to make a haunting movie.
Yeah, I think you should leave Close Encounters as it is.
He agreed to make a haunting movie with him. What they said was his level of involvement was he was frequently on set and he exerted significant creative control. But there was people calling for him to be put down as the co-director of the movie. But both Hooper and Spielberg were like, nope. No need. Hooper made this movie, not me. So I suppose if you're fucking Spielberg,
rolling it paid
Do
forward,
you really need the credit?
That's what I mean. Like, you know, this guy is a good director. You've seen his work, paid fucking forward. Like,
do you know what? I'm pretty sure I saw the remake as well, and I can't remember it.
I cannot remember Poltergeist, and I was only thinking about this the other day because I put Poltergeist up because it was its anniversary. It was last week, and I was looking at stills of the remake, and I was like, I'm almost certain we've seen it, but I think it's like a Get Out thing where we've seen it, but like it's still like a new movie to us.
Yeah, we watched Get Out last night.
For the second time.
I'd seen it years ago. And I was like, we're watching all his movies at the moment, so we might as well throw that on again.
It's like, holy shit.
It finishes for me. My original watch, it's like when she admits to be, when the girlfriend kind of holds the keys back from him, that's where my memory stops of it. I
remembered that, but there's a good bit before that I didn't remember. And there was only that when
I didn't remember the auction.
The guy, I didn't remember that. But then your man from Atlanta, when he started talking, I turned around, he was like, holy shit, are they like putting other people into black people's bodies? I mean, like the whole movie just went from me. I must have fallen asleep or something the first time around.
What was the other movie this week that I called early on?
You call that very early on. Even when it looked like that wasn't the deal, you were like, fucking called it the last 5 minutes and they swapped over.
Well, I had it called at the start of the movie. Like as soon as they went into the funhouse, I was like,
but I mean, like when it got to the end of the movie,
I didn't say anything about it until they were on the beach, and then I turned to you and I was like, okay, this is what I think is going on. But I mean, like literally this minute the scene happened, I was like, okay, that's what's happened.
Yeah, when you said it then, and when you kind of clicks of that girl didn't talk for a few fucking months when she came out.
That's what I pointed out, Joe. I was like, well, let's look at it here. No one else can talk. She can.
But and you know
and
what?
And the other girl stopped talking when she came out of the funhouse. I mean, she had to relearn. She had to learn how to talk.
But the way that she talked afterwards
put me off a little bit.
It didn't put me off, but it kind of like got the cogs working like when you said that they switched places, because there's a homeless guy from the town that I live in, and he doesn't have any human. He lives in the town. You've seen him before. He lives in the town. He sleeps on the streets. He's been offered a house. He won't take a house. But he does, and he has very, very little human contact. But he used to come into the shop that I was working in and used to like buy a bar of chocolate every so often. But because he doesn't speak much, he spoke quite like the mirror like Lupita Nyong'o did, yeah. And I think that was very smart, like, because obviously her voice, her ability to speak had downgraded because she was around people that just went, I can't even make the noise. But that the second family, the dad and that, the mirror dad made me laugh an awful lot. You know, when he gets onto the boat, he's like, where is he? And he's like this, like really taking the piss, but he makes the noises to go along with it. I was weak laughing at him. Yeah.
All right, so the origin of the idea for the poltergeist is from Popper the Poltergeist, and I do have a thing up here for that.
Popper the Poltergeist.
Real life haunt. This is from alexmatusu.com. It's called the Spooky Stuff website. I don't know why it isn't called that.com. Anyway, so what happened was there was this family. I'm going to do this quicker. I'm not going to read through all this because it's going to take too long.
I'm going to look at the pictures.
There is a family by the name of Herman, and they were living in this house. So James Herman is the dad, and he had his wife Lucille, and then there was his children were a girl and a boy, also Lucille and James.
Sure, he's not Dracula. Look at that.
I know.
He's got going on.
Fucking scary looking, isn't he?
It's funny that his name is Herman as well.
And the other one looks like one of the Culkins, isn't he? One of the kids.
Definitely an extra Culkin.
Anyway, what happened was one day James is at work and the rest of them are at home, and they start to hear this popping noise going on around the house. And once it stops, They walk around the house and they realize all the tops of all the liquids in the house, tops had popped off.
Fucking annoying. That's the poltergeist shit that would piss me off.
So that's everywhere around the house. So they stay calm about it. It's fine. Something weird happened. They tell James all. He says, could have been anything. Don't worry about it. It could be a prank. It could be anything. No, I don't know how a prank. It's a very elaborate prank for someone to sneak into your house and do this. Eventually, it keeps happening. And he kind of confronts his child, James Jr., about it. Because he thinks he's putting in these, essentially these little tablets into the thing. Essentially like the whole Coke and Mentos thing, to get a reaction out of it. So it takes a while, but eventually he believes the son and he believes he isn't doing it.
Okay.
And they get the police involved. So that's what's interesting about this case.
How do you call the police about that? There's somebody coming in opening my liquid bottle.
Well, that's it. Like the main cop didn't believe him at first. He thought it was a load of bullshit. Then he came by and he kind of did a run around. And while he was there, he witnessed some shit happening. Like some things, because they did start seeing, like, like they'd be looking and a little statue might lift up off the fucking table and fall off.
Yeah.
Little things were being thrown slowly around the place.
Okay.
So the cop did have something thrown at him when there was no one else in the house.
Okay.
Hit him on the back of the legs. So he kind of got freaked out, but he went back to his superiors and said, this is above my pay grade. I don't know what to do. So they sent another cop back there who spent 8 weeks looking into it. And they had some paranormal investigators come in to look into it and all that kind of crack. And nobody could figure out what was going on. Just that it's well documented that this did go on. And then it kept going on. And they couldn't figure out what was causing it. There was obviously some kind of thoughts towards...
Air pressure,
magnetic zones where they were and all this stuff. What was the big one again? They were saying that was kind of crazy. Hang on one second. Where is it? Looking back. Theories. I know there was one weird one here that I thought was funny.
The hormonal stress of 2 teenagers.
That's one of them.
The mom going through menopause all on top.
And they blame that shit for a lot of stuff. I mean, when it came to Enfield, it was the same thing that was blamed. It was
to be the menopause.
No, the girls were just coming of period age, menstruation age. And they reckoned it was the hormones and all that stuff they could have been doing. It's like, if they do, they really need to start looking into periods.
It's to manifest it. Well, I mean, like...
if you can do that with your fucking first period, then that would tell me that maybe deep down somewhere, we got some telepathy.
But no, as in, like, when you think about it really, and not to get more morbid about it, like, maybe it isn't the hormones. Maybe if it does manifest activity, it's the whole concept of, like, this could be a life, but it's not a life now. So it's kind of a little death. It's a tiny, it's...
But if it is trauma, right? And they reckon that, like, we only have unlocked, 10% of the power of our brain or something like that? Some small percentage of the power of our brain. What if there is? Because this was a scientific thing they're looking into as well, is the thought of, when you see aliens with big heads and all that kind of stuff, no mouths and stuff like that, that they've unlocked the telepathic part of their brain, and that we actually have that ability in our head, that we just don't, because of evolution and because of not needing it, because of the way everything is set, we blocked it off.
And how do you unblock it?
And we put a block on it to stop it from working because we don't need it.
Okay.
And what if, when you're getting this first period, that it is so traumatic for you that little bit of a buzz kind of gets something going in the back of your fucking brain that's got
Can I tell you
moving.
something?
Yeah.
Like, genuinely. Okay, I don't know about for other girls, but I know for me.
Not that traumatic.
No, it's not. I truly believe that if it is, if it's not the trauma, it's the trauma on a different level, that, like, it had a potential for life and now there's no life, so it's getting rid of it. But I really don't think, maybe other girls' first experiences are different. It wasn't traumatic.
Yeah.
I got you're a woman now, or my little girl. It was something I think was like, my little girl, and it's not traumatic. You get nice things on your first period.
Yeah.
It's a coming of age thing, like. Do you know why I don't?
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know.
And what, these people are saying that it's traumatic, is it?
I think they're saying the hormone and the energy around the fucking place. Traumatic's my word. Maybe it's hormonal stress. That's the word they're using.
Okay, it is very hormonally stressful, but not traumatic.
So where the fuck did I read the thing about the jellyfish?
Hang on. Easy way to find it. Jellyfish.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of something completely different.
Yeah, it's not in that article.
But yeah, they investigated it, but I mean, like, there was a thing that they were nearby an Air Force base and that they conducted a lot of sonic boom kind of experiments.
There you go.
That was soon debunked.
Oh.
They used dowsing rods to see if there were any streams under the house that could cause a magnetic field. That didn't happen. There was no streams under there. So they did like really research. Duke University once had a parapsychology lab by J.P. Ryan, would later break away from Duke to create the Ryan Research Center, which is still active today in Durham, North Carolina. He had a look at it. Nothing. He concluded the presence of two hormonal teenagers created some sort of poltergeist activity or telekinetic events. And a lot of time, poltergeists are put down to that. They're put down to hormones and energy from the hormones around the place causing things to move and freak out.
Maybe there's a reason that, like, in still underdeveloped countries, the women are sent to that hut over 2 miles there when you're on your period, because a lot of them die though when it happens. But you know, no ghosties in the house. The poltergeist
is back.
I don't think they do it in Jamaica. But I mean, like, the really kind of like really underdeveloped tribes, like
Pussygeist.
Was that a movie? Did we watch that?
No, but I'm
if
sure.
It's not a movie.
I'm sure it is. I am 100 billion% sure that is a movie of the adult variety. Guaranteed.
I will tell you now. How would you spell the end of
Geist?
Sure is.
Fuck
Hot
yeah.
Movies, Pussygeist 2023 by Skin Vision.
Hey.
There's a lot of them here, Josh.
Are they all different ones?
There's 2 different ones.
I told you they were going to make that. That's a guaranteed. Like, if I can think of it, the porno people have definitely thought of it.
Shit.
The guarantee. All right, we have one more to look at, so let's move on.
Only
quickly. Yes. One more. That's 4, isn't it?
Birds.
We have 2 more.
Two
Sorry.
more.
Shit. Yeah, and the birds is the next one. That's one of the more interesting ones.
Better get moving.
You can do this one. I love the birds.
Well, The Birds is a 1963 American natural horror thriller film produced and directed by Alfred Hitchcock, released by Universal Pictures and starring Jessica Tandy, Rod Taylor, Suzanne Plachette, and introducing Tippi Hedren in her film debut. You know she's Melanie Griffith's mom? Pretty sure it's Melanie Griffith.
Yeah, I know is that she had a very, very hard time during this movie.
She did.
I don't know exactly what happened, but everything I've read about it today, it was the shit time Tippi Hedren had during this movie. Excuse me, my fucking nose is dry. My allergies are driving me crazy.
Loosely based on the 1952 short story of the same name by Daphne du Maurier, it focuses on a series of sudden and unexplained violent bird attacks on the people of Bodega Bay, California, over the course of a few days. The screenplay is by Evan Hunter, who was told by Hitchcock to develop new characters and a more elaborate plot while keeping du Maurier's title and concept of unexplained bird attacks. While it initially received mixed reviews when it originally released, its reputation improved over time and it has since been considered to be one of the greatest horror films of all time.
I've noticed that nearly every fucking movie I looked at in that list made the same claim.
What?
Zodiac, probably the greatest horror movie of all time, according to the BBC. Amityville movie, probably the best horror movie.
I wonder, did they get like a whole load of different contributors and be like, okay, write a paragraph on this, and they're all like, best horror movie.
Well, the Amityville horror one was claiming to be the highest grossing independent movie of all time, and I was like, until Terrifier turned up last year.
There we go.
Terrifier 3 probably beat you. All right, I think again, because we've went well over the hour and hour,
and everybody knows what the birds is about.
The interesting part about this is this actually happened at one point. This was not
seagulls.
What it was in 1990. Was it 19? No, it was 1961. 2 years before the movie came out in Monterey Bay. At about 3 a.m., birds started flying out of the sky and smacking up against people's houses, cars, and attacking people. And they couldn't work out what was going on. And for decades, they didn't know what was going on. It was only in the 80s, I believe, they figured out what it was. So the birds were eating this, fish who were eating this algae, which had a poisonous psychoactive fucking drug inside it. When it mixed with a certain other element, it would basically make them trip the fuck out and could cause coma, death, and all this other stuff. But the birds were off their mind and didn't know what they were fucking doing. So they were flying into people and attacking people and just going absolutely batshit fucking crazy like you see in the birds. But like I said, later on, when they started to figure out, when they like one guy in particular, or one girl, I believe in particular, made this like a mission to learn what was going on. What?
Bargu was her second name.
Yeah. So she kind of made it a bit of a mission to do. When she was younger, her parents had the movie on, wouldn't let her watch it, so she was watching it through the keyhole and scared the shit out of her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she became like a biologist or something, an oceanographer, and kind of got interested in the idea of what might have fucking caused this phenomenon back then.
Mm-hmm.
And she kept doing more and more testing into it, but that eventually led them to believe that algae was responsible for the original 1961 incident that kicked it all fucking off.
Nice.
So that's I just found that interesting.
It is very interesting.
When I looked at a list of movies with real fucking backgrounds, I wasn't expecting to see the birds on the list.
Mm-mm.
Do you know?
No. Well, no, but I wouldn't have been surprised either. But I would have thought that there were seagulls going batshit crazy for food, because I saw one try to swallow a squirrel the other day and they've lost their fucking minds. No, genuinely. The squirrel got down its fucking throat and I had its tail out. I think a passerby stopped it in the end, but this thing, not in real life.
I've seen real videos like that.
A whole squirrel though is beyond me. A full live squirrel.
Yeah. Do you see that? I was looking at pictures last day. The lions do it as well. Lions will eat. So because hunting is such a fucking hit or miss kind of game, that when a lion kills something, no matter how big it is, he will gorge himself on it to the point where he is immobile, can't move, like on the ground, swollen stomach.
Like the zombie that got Laurie.
Yeah, they're just moaning and groaning because they're so fucking full and they have to wait to digest it before they can move again.
Why they sleep so much? Because you hear like, a lion sleeps. I know it's warm, but you think yourself trying to sleep off a food baby is probably the best way of getting rid of it.
I also heard that horny lionesses will have sex like 7 or 8 times a day, a load of times in a day.
Yeah.
And if the man doesn't want to do it, they start biting them on the nuts.
They don't got a choice. A male lion can have sex about 40 times a day with different lionesses, but the lionesses will keep going.
Bite his nuts if he doesn't do it.
And then he can't do anything.
But yeah, I just thought this was amazing that this actually happened. You know? Scary. I mean, if anything was going to be terrifying, it would be having a bunch of birds attack you. Because what the fuck do you do, like, you know?
And they've got, their beaks are fucking sharp.
And their claws.
And their
Holy
claws.
Shit.
Depends on the type of birds. I think I could like swat away a few blue tits or robins or shit.
Yeah, 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah.
Now imagine 500 of them swarming you. What are you going to do?
Flamethrower.
That's what I'd do. Start biting back.
Really?
If they're small ones, yeah. Fuck 'em.
Oh, yeah. No, I get the aerosol can.
Or if they're big, I just hit my mosh and
experience.
Fuck, I forgot that arm fucked. I'll have to do it with this arm, Joe.
No more moshing for you.
Uppercuts.
It's a weird motion.
Let's be honest, most of us would just fall down the ball and be like, fuck off!
I think we do okay.
I would run like fuck to the house. That's all I could do.
That's all you can do. But then you're going to have to try and board up the windows because they are getting through the glass. You could be guaranteed you'd have to put stuff there because they will come down that chimney.
Double glazing. To get through it.
Yeah, eventually enough of them coming and tapping and tapping and tapping. Do we have woodpeckers in Ireland?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah.
Pretty sure we do.
Well then they could probably get through the windows.
I don't know. Fuck them.
Do you know their tongues go around their brains?
Yes, I did hear that. Yeah. But it's just interesting that one actually had a real fucking story behind it.
Yeah.
Last one we're going to do. Where are we? Okay,
we are on
we're
Fire
an
in
hour
the
and 10 minutes, so that's not too bad. Fire in the Sky. I don't know that we have
in passing. Yeah, we have this and the couple.
Oh yeah, Betty and Barney. They actually feature in the story a little bit.
They do, yeah.
So hang on, we'll have a quick look here. So Fire in the Sky is a 1993 American science fiction drama film directed by Robert Lieberman and adapted by Tracy Trome. It is based on Travis Walton's book, The Walton Experience, which sounds like a band, doesn't it?
Walton Experience. You go jiving and foxtrotting to that.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. It would probably be like old-timey music because of the Waltons. The Waltons Experience. It'd have to be like old country.
Nightmare, yeah, then.
And it describes an extraterrestrial abduction. The film stars D.B. Sweeney as Walton and Robert Patrick as his best friend and future brother-in-law.
I forgot
Mike
that.
Mike Rogers. So Mike Rogers is his brother-in-law because they're constantly fucking fighting about this shit.
Oh, dear.
James Garner, Craig Schaefer, and Mike Scott McDonald, Henry Thomas, and Patrick Berg also star in the movie. Obviously, a movie about alien abduction stretches the definition of true story, but former logger Travis Walton has never come off his insistence that on November 5th, 1975, he was sucked into an extraterrestrial spaceship, violently probed, and then deposited on the side of an Arizona highway.
Sounds like they shit him out. Just deposited sounds like they pooped him out.
Yep. Regardless of the actual truth of the matter, the depiction of Walton's abduction in this atmospheric chiller certainly feels real. Now, the movie is badass.
It is. It's a good movie. So is the Betty and Barney Hill one.
The alien scenes are creepy.
Mm-hmm.
The Betty and Barney Hill one, that's the one with
James
Earl Jones.
Yeah. But is this
Really
the one,
young.
Fire in the Sky? Is that where he's almost in kind of like a womb kind of thing? Like, was
Yeah,
I do remember that. It's
yeah.
creepy. Yeah.
And the aliens come. Now, he describes it as, because I've heard him talk about this, himself, the real guy, like, he describes it as, you know what we see as the Greys?
Yeah.
He says that's like a costume. That's like their
And it comes
spacesuit.
off. Yeah,
and they take it
yeah.
off and they look a little more like us underneath, I think is what he was saying.
Okay.
I mean, I thought it was funny watching him try to escape from a UFO because it's like, well, you're on a UFO. Where are you going to escape to, kid? You're going to have to kind of cooperate some bit here with somebody to make this work, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you hit the ejection button, you're going to be dead anyway, you know? So what happens here is in November of, what did we say it was?
It was November of
1975. Yes. They were up doing they were basically hired. They had I think it was a government contract to clear out a certain patch of forestry. And they were up there clearing it out. And they stayed late because they were running behind on their contract. They weren't going to get the contract completed in time.
Yeah.
And while they were up there, they saw some crazy lights. They tried to drive away from it, but Travis got out of the car and ran towards the light and then claims to have been sucked up into the machine, into the UFO, and taken away. And Travis goes missing for about 5 days. No one can find him.
Okay.
And then he rings him on the side of the fucking road, looking shaking and rattled and all this stuff, saying, I'm in here, thereafter, leave me off here. Now, the thing that hurts this story the most in real life is his brother-in-law and him fell out a few years ago because he found out that Travis was involved with doing a remake of Fire in the Sky and wasn't letting him in on it.
Oh, that's shitty.
So he came out and he was like, yeah, me and Travis came up with it all together.
But he could be saying that because he's shitty.
Yeah, he has. He's ran back on it now since they made up. And he said, I only did it all.
Has anybody asked him how much of a cut he's getting from the movie?
But the thing about it is, Travis and his brother, not his brother-in-law, Travis and his brother were known for pulling pranks. They were known for being obsessive about UFOs, and himself and Rogers were talking about UFOs on the site that day. And on the day it happened, he went missing from the site for a couple of hours and told everybody as well then for another few hours that he was sick and he was going to go sleep in the van. So he was missing for most of the day before this happened.
Okay.
Which leads you to believe that maybe he was busy setting something up. On top of that, as I pointed out, they were running behind on their logging contract. And if they didn't hit the date, they were rather going to lose a huge chunk of money or lose the contract. So by having this happen, he buys them time. Do you know?
So, but why cling to it still? Because of all the movies and
well, that's it. I think he's doing pretty fucking well out of it. He's always at all the conferences. I was only listening to the last podcast the last day, and they were talking about them being a contact in the desert, and that he'd regularly there, and he'd be pulling out his guitar, singing songs with people and shit like that.
But was it him that was due to get married, or was it his sister that was due to get married?
To his brother-in-law, the guy that Patrick.
So it wasn't that like he was getting married to this girl, and Robert Patrick's character was the girl's brother.
No, all the way around.
Oh, right. Because I was wondering he was already just getting kind of cold feet and needed a break for 5 days.
No. This was. It seems like I don't know, to be honest. I think there's too many factors here that kind of prove wrong. On top of that, they had watched the Betty and Barney Hill fucking movie only a night or two before a couple of weeks before this had happened, or something along those lines. So I mean, it all kind of lines up that.
And then when you look at it, that there is in 1975 the National Enquirer was advertising a grand prize of $100,000 for proof of extraterrestrial visitors.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of foreign again. I think I'd like to believe him.
But see, with a lot of these things, I'd like to believe.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't seem to line up. Like, here we go, right? So Mike Rogers' his thing. On March 19, 2021, Mike Rogers posted a statement on his Facebook page announcing, I, Michael H. Rogers, being of sound and rational mind, do hereby give notice that I am no longer to be considered a witness to Travis C. Walton's supposed abduction on November 5th, 1975. He later clarified, Travis tried to keep a new remake of the movie a secret from me. He has always had his big secrets that he has kept from me. It angered me. I tried over the last 2 weeks to reason with him, but to no avail. I don't believe Travis is an honest person, and therefore I want nothing to do with him. On April 3rd, Rogers placed a call to producer Ryan Gordon, who was working on a new film about the Walton incident. Gordon recorded the call without Rogers' knowledge, as permitted by Arizona law.
Why would you call anybody a call nobody?
2 months later, on July 4th, Gordon publicly posted audio from the call, which featured Rogers explaining, we were talking in the woods one day. We were talking about creating a UFO hoax, okay? I don't know how the UFO got there, but I remember when I was driving the truck and he jumped out, it was all deliberate. It was all a staged thing, okay? He ran up there and there was something about the UFO not being real, although it looked real. Rogers and Walton later reconciled, and Rogers issued a statement retracting his confession. Modern views, Walton's as UFO buffs and pranksters, National Enquirer misrepresented polygraph results. So there was a thing about polygraph machine that he'd taken where it seemed like it was the proof that he couldn't be lying. But that polygraph was taken by, what was it here? Hang on. Authors, including Michael Shermer and Phil Klass, note that while the National Enquirer tabloid publicized the opinion of a private polygraph examiner who reported the witnesses as being truthful, it omitted all mention of Walton's prior polygraph examiner who concluded Walton was being grossly deceptive.
Aww.
They further noted that while law enforcement had conducted a polygraph examination on the crew during their missing persons investigation into Walton's disappearance, the objective of the investigation was to determine whether the crew had killed Walton, not to investigate UFOs. So they were well, Walton's missing and they're claiming a UFO, so they gave him polygraph
so they
to
think
see
they killed him.
Yeah, to see if he was alive and well or fucking, do you know?
Yeah.
So basically, it's the polygraphs aren't reliable, so you don't fucking know. Do you know?
No, they're not. They're not reliable.
And then there was kind of this whole UFO abduction thing that was going on from the 70s and 80s, where it was kind of almost in fashion to be abducted, you know? And there's been times where he's been asked to bring him back to the site where it happened, where he'd get the site completely fucking wrong and go somewhere uphill or downhill from where it actually happened. I feel like if something like that happens to you, you're going to remember.
We're going to remember, or else, unless you're programmed to be a bit.
I was watching a documentary about a UFO crash in Brazil that happened in, when did I say that happened? The 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's identical to Roswell in most ways.
Yeah.
But they got this Brazilian man to bring him to where he was one of the first people that went to the crash site. He saw the crash happen and he drove to see was everyone okay. And he said he hadn't been there in whatever it was, 26 years or whatever. And they were walking around there trying to figure out what it was because the landscape had kind of changed a bit. And he was looking around, he's like, no, not here, not here. And then they moved down another bit, no, not here, not here, not here. And the next thing he starts to freak out and he's like, here.
Post-traumatic, like,
here, and he just wouldn't stop saying here, and he kept running over, hitting the ground, going here, and next thing he just starts bawling, like he's crying. He's just like, it's here, and you're like, it was like, this guy, he's fucking feeling something. And again, in those cases, like that shit's been debunked as well. But in that case, you had all the witnesses who were suffering for what they had fucking told people they'd seen, and he was even just saying, I haven't profited a thing. This has been a hell for me knowing this information. The amount of fucking people who insult me, my own family make fun of me, and I've got no profit for this. I haven't made a cent off this, and here I am, and what did I get out of this? Why would I lie? But so I don't know. I just feel like maybe this was a clever hoax to buy him a bit more time that ended up making him a shitload of money.
Good movie though.
Yes, well worth the watch. But see, that's the upside to some of these hoaxes, isn't it? It might be based on true events, but those true events mightn't be necessarily real. Do you know?
Whatever about this one, though, I firmly do not believe that Betty and Barney Hill was a hoax. Whether they really believed it themselves or whether it actually happened, I don't think those two people made up the story. Whether it's consciously or subconsciously, I don't believe they made it up.
Remember those videos I posted of Betty Hill a couple of years ago?
Mm-hmm.
She seemed a bit crazy. I don't know. I don't
believe it. I know that there was an episode of, was it Twilight Zone or Stranger Than Fiction or something like that was played a few weeks beforehand or maybe the night beforehand. The Outer Limits, that's what it was, and it was quite similar to their story. But the two of them were able to have, their stories lined up under hypnosis.
I think it's because so many people gave them glowing character references as no nonsense, not really into this paranormal alien bullshit. They were decent, good people who really spent most of their time working on civil rights and their own jobs and stuff like that.
But obviously, and as
which
well as that,
they said would have hurted Barney's image because he was a civil rights activist, and by getting into this UFO thing, it discredited him.
Yeah, and he was also at the time as well, he was a black man working as a postman at the time, married to a white woman. And were they in the South? Am I right in saying that they were in the South States? I could be wrong there, but I mean,
it's in here somewhere,
You don't want to, I would assume that you don't want to draw.
Well, I mean, it didn't matter where you were living at that time. A mixed race marriage would have been
but
dodgy.
More so in the southern. Oh, yeah.
They were from New Hampshire.
Okay.
Which is in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
Even looking at the picture of them there, it's hard to see those two people coming up with a bullshit story, especially when I've heard tapes of him under hypnosis and he is screaming.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to believe that they made it up willingly. I'm not saying it did happen, but I don't think they made up the story. Unless it's a collective thing or did just both have a nightmare about
the same nightmare at the same time.
Stranger things have fucking happened. And people have danced themselves to death at the same time, not knowing why.
It's true.
Like we just covered on Playable.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. If you want to watch a good alien movie, Betty and Barney Hill is a good abduction movie. Betty and Barney Hill is a good one. Fire in the Sky is a good one. Well, we've covered a bit of everything here. We've got ghosts, poltergeist, and the serial killer with the Zodiac killer,
period ghosts.
In all these cases, they're all up in the air as to whether they're true or not.
Ooh.
None of this is proven real, except the Zodiac has been proven to be real. We just don't know who the fuck it is. Oh
my god, good link you got there going.
I didn't notice I'd done that, to be honest.
Oh, you should have taken the prize.
Yeah, I don't know. What? And the birds, that happened. Didn't happen the way Hitchcock said.
We didn't know who did that one, though.
It was the algae all the time. Bastards. Lock
them
up. It wasn't. The algae were fucking forcing them to do it.
They were parasites. Like the butterfly guys in a Peacemaker. I keep doing that.
If I was to ever remake the birds, that's how I'd do it. Not an algae parasite, but an alien parasite. Sleeping into their ears and controlling them to attack the people.
Yeah, a hive mind. That would be fucked up. Birds, colony of birds with a hive mind.
Come from the sky, but it's not what you're expecting. It's the birds.
Oh, now you've just given everyone the plot.
I do that with
twist.
All right, I think that's it for this week. And next week we're going to come back with our regular scheduled content.
We will be
back into the Horrorverse, back to Play and Pretend, and I will try not to get too fucking worked up about the state of our fucking world in the meantime.
You're staying away from your phone for the week.
How can I do that?
No screens, Josh.
Fucking is true. Fucking these social media stuff. Jesus Christ, it's just. But I feel like I need to know.
Oh, well, yeah, you don't want to be in the dark about it. No.
Do you know?
No. As in, we're checking the updates in the flotilla every few hours, and what's happening over there at the moment with the people that stay behind is a fucking disgrace.
It's better than what I thought was going to happen.
It's better than what I thought was going to happen, but
I was almost certain that if they got killed, things were going to really, really, really fucking kick off.
But do you know what was...
I'd say they knew that too. And I'd say Isreal realised that too. It was like, ooh, they knew killed them. Right.
But having the next
we didn't kill them, and there's 10,000 of them on their way now. If we had killed them,
the neck to arrest them in international waters and say that they stopped them from invading Israel territory is a bit fucking much. You just turned yourself into pirates. It was international waters, like,
and they were heading nowhere near.
And
Israel.
they were heading nowhere near Israel.
So I don't know, man. We just have to keep supporting, see what happens. Well, we still got to do our little bits here at the end. Tell people where to go. So we won't do the usual thing. You know where to find all our shit.
On TikTok now, though.
Oh, we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
The Horrorverse Network on Patreon, $5 a month, 7-day free trial. We have It's Live Action, which is the bonus show to this show. We have Mini Monsters, which is Amy's bios on monsters and serial killers and ghosts and cryptids. They come out every Monday. We have Playing with Bones, which is currently halfway through its third season, with Wrestling with Time coming back in 2 weeks' time. And what else do we got on there? Do we have anything else? And this. Videos to everything. Oh, the Horrorverse headlines. That's also up there. You can also find a lot of that stuff, though, on Spotify as well. And if you use Spotify, you can use the Spotify Patreon feed, where you will see what's free, what's locked, what's not locked, what you can get. We also have YouTube. All our video episodes are up there now. We're going to start using YouTube Shorts pretty soon. We're on TikTok at It's Alive podcast. You can also find us at the Horrorverse Network. It's all the same one.
We're on all good streaming providers, podcast providers as well.
And on all
iTunes,
good
Amazon, you name it, we're there.
So that's it. We'll be back next week with more tales from the Horrorverse. See you all next time. Same Alive time, same Horrorverse channel. Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Free Palestine. Fuck Israel. Yeah.